Hi everyone, my name is Miss Tina and we are at the Palos Heights Public Library for our kindergarten ready story time. And this week's story time is going to be all about the letter A. Yep, we're starting at the beginning of the alphabet and we're going to hear stories about different things that start with the letter A. So the first thing that we're going to do at our story time is we sing our hello song. And to say hello, we put our hand up here and we say hello. And to say friend, we take one friend here, and they give each other a hug. Okay? So let's start our story time song. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. Great job. Okay, now we have our first story. And the name of this book is Alan's Big Scary Teeth. And it is by Jarvis. Does anyone know what kind of animal Alan is? It's right here. He is a big, scary alligator. And alligator starts with the letter A. Okay, so let's read about Alan and his scary teeth. Alan came from a long line of very scary alligators. He was known throughout the jungle for his scaring. It was also what he did best. Alan would start each day polishing his scales, sharpening his nails, and brushing each of his big, scary teeth for at least 10 minutes at a time. And after practicing his frightening faces in the mirror, he'd sneak into the jungle for his morning round of scaring. Alan went snap, snap, and grr, grr. He said things like, "I'm big, scary Alan. Fear my razor-sharp teeth." He made the frogs leap off of their lily pads, the monkeys tumble from the trees, and the parrots screech in terrible terror. Snap, snap, grr, eek, ah, squawk. Blah! I love being scary, said Alan. After a long day of scaring the jungle animals, Alan would head back home to the swamp, relax, finish the crossword in the jungle times, and take out his false teeth. Nobody knew about Alan's false teeth. Good night, teeth. Sweet dreams, my scary nappers, Alan would say as he put them away, carefully in his super secret hiding place. One morning, Barry the beaver was up early collecting wood and came across a dozing Alan. Terrified that Alan might wake up and gobble him whole, he quickly dived behind a bush and snort, snort. Phew, that was close, thought Barry, just as a set of false teeth fell out of a bush with a very familiar snap, snap. When Alan awoke, his teeth were gone. My teeth! My teeth! Where are my teeth? What could he do? Maybe no one would notice. Could he still be scary without them? He decided to head into the jungle as usual. He made the frogs leap off their lily pads, the monkeys tumble from the trees, and the parrots screech. with laughter. Alan just wasn't very scary without his teeth. Snap, snap, gah! Ha 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 ha! Hee 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 hee! Alan slunk back to the swamp. He had never been more embarrassed. He came from a long line of very scary alligators. Scaring was all he had ever known. What would Alan do now? Poor Alan began to cry, just a little bit at first, but then the tears kept coming. He howled and yowled more than all the jungle babies put together, and he could not stop crying until the next morning, when all the animals turned up at Alan's swamp with his big scary teeth. "We'll give you back your teeth," said Frog. "Really?" said Alan. "On one condition," said Parrot. "You have to stop scaring us." "But what will I do? I don't know how to do anything else." "We have an idea," said Frog. And so every day, after polishing his scales, sharpening his nails, and brushing his big, scary teeth, Alan headed into the jungle and became Alan the gardener, Alan the hairdresser, and Alan the dentist. But every night he became Alan the big, scary storyteller, thrilling the jungle animals with his terrifying tales. "Bwah-ha-ha-ha! I love being scary," said Alan. And sometimes he even let Barry borrow his teeth. Grrr. The end. That is one of my favorite stories. Okay, now I'm going to move the camera over. And on my felt board, you should see 5 monkeys. Can you count them with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we're going to sing our song, and it goes like this. You're going to sing along with me. 5 little monkeys sitting in the tree, teasing Mr. Alligator, can't catch me. Along came Mr. Alligator, quiet as can be. Snap! 4 little monkeys sitting in the tree, teasing Mr. Alligator, can't catch me. Along came Mr. Alligator, quiet as can be. Snap! 3 little monkeys sitting in the tree, teasing Mr. Alligator, can't catch me. Along came Mr. Alligator, quiet as can be. Snap! 2 little monkeys sitting in the tree, teasing Mr. Alligator, can't catch me. Along came Mr. Alligator, quiet as can be. Snap! 1 little monkey sitting in the tree, teasing Mr. Alligator, can't catch me. Along came Mr. Alligator, quiet as can be. Snap! No more monkeys sitting in the tree. Okay, now it's time for our next story. And our next story is titled Iggy, Peck, Architect. Now, architect begins with what letter? Right, the letter A. So now we're going to read about Iggy, Peck, Architect. And this book is by Andrea Beaty. Young Iggy Peck is an architect and has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. Good gracious, Ignatius, his mother exclaimed. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past, and she realized those diapers weren't clean. Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks. But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn, using dirty clods to build a great sphinx. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples, and temples from modeling clay. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. Dear Ig had it made until 2nd grade, when his teacher was Miss Leila Greer. On the very first day, she had this to say, "We do not talk of buildings in here." Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings ancient or new. She said in her lecture about architecture, it had no place in grade 2. That might seem severe, but she was sincere. For when she was no more than 7, she had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Leila got lost from the group. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator eating cheese with the French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say, she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that, above all, one ought to avoid them. No ifs, ands, or buts. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk. But he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal Howe? No, ma'am, Iggy said. He lowered his head, and his heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. Now 2nd grade was a bore. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream. But they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed, and Miss Leila Greer started to scream. We're trapped here! Oh my! Alas, kids, goodbye! Her eyeballs rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound. Luckily fainted, not dead. The class was amazed. They stood there quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one bright young man was off hatching a plan, which started with Miss Leila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass was working together as one. And when she came to, Miss Leila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces, And on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Boots, tree roots, and strings, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge in a glorious bridge dangling from shoestring suspension. It became clear to Miss Leela Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. Now every week at Blue River Creek, elementary and second grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. The weekly guest speaker in t-shirt and sneakers talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course, he's the guy who builds towers from pie, that brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. The end. Okay, boys and girls, now I have some different shapes on my felt board. Can you count them with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now with these eight shapes, we are going to build a house. Okay, what should we use first? How about the blue square? Do you see the blue square? It's right here. Okay. So I think that this will be the base of our house. So like the big part of the house. So what goes on top of a house? A roof. Do you see a shape here that you think could be a good roof? Do you think the circle makes a good roof? No, that doesn't look quite right. I think we need a bigger shape. How about the rectangle? No, that still doesn't look right to me. How about the orange triangle? Do you see the orange triangle? Here it is. Let's see. Oh, I think that looks perfect. Now, what else does our house need? How about some windows? Do you see anything here that could be windows for our house? I see 4 yellow squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks good to me. Now, how are we going to get in our house? Yep, I think we need a door. And we can use this red triangle to make the door. Perfect. What should we do with the black circle? I think our door needs a doorknob. Great job building our house. Okay, boys and girls, now we're going to read our last story. And our last story is titled Beautiful Oops, and it is by Barney Saltzberg. So in this story, we are going to read about some beautiful art. And art also starts with the letter A. So let's start our story. Beautiful oops. Oops! A torn piece of paper. Oh, my page is torn. Is just the beginning. Every spill has lots and lots of possibilities. Bent paper is something to celebrate. A little drip of paint lets your imagination run wild. A scrap of paper can be fun to play with. A smudge and a smear can make magic appear. A stain has potential if you play with its shape. Holes in your paper exploring are worth exploring. When you think you have made a mistake, oops, think of it as an opportunity to make something beautiful. Okay, boys and girls, that ends this story time. So, what 3 things did we learn start with the letter A? Yes, the first story we read was about an alligator named Alan. Both start with A. And the second story we read was about an architect named Iggy. An architect starts with A. And the last story we read was about making art out of anything. And both of those words start with the letter A. So thank you for joining me at this story time. And that wraps up this kindergarten ready session, or this kindergarten ready week. So I will see you next week when we learn about another letter of the alphabet. And to say goodbye, we still say our goodbye song, okay? And this is goodbye. So goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. Thank you, friends. I'll see you next time.